Bobby Might. I'm from the Office of Graduate Studies, and I'd like to welcome all of you. This is going to be our technology in the classroom, and any questions that you've got concerning Blackboard, the administration end of it, or you're developing the course, please feel free to ask Josie or Flor. They are both from the Colt office, so they've got tons of experience with this, and as we all know, the Blackboard has just come in, so any kind of issues that are arising, they're up to date on those right now. All right, and I'm just going to turn it right over to Josie. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. For those of you who are not too familiar with our department, we are the Center for Online Learning, Teaching, and Technology, and some people know us as Colt or Blackboard. And just to let you know where we're located, we're in the Education Complex, room 2.202. So if you need any help or you have students that need help, you can go ahead and have them call us at 665-5327, or you can have them walk over to our office and drag their laptops with them in case they need help. We would be happy to help them, assist them, maybe update their laptops if they need to take an assessment or anything like that. We are open from 7:30 in the morning to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And on Friday, we close at 6 because we figured Anthony needs at least the weekend off a little. Okay, for most of you are familiar how to sign into Blackboard. You go to my.utpa.edu, and you simply just click in your applications area and click into Blackboard. Once you do that, it's going to take you to your course list. Or if you haven't signed in before, it should say hi and your name. Now, I'm going to go ahead and sign in as administrator, but once all of you have signed in, you might have noticed that there is a course listed in your list titled Teaching Academy and possibly your last name or your first initial and your last name. If you don't have that, can you please just raise your hand, and Flor will be happy to add you manually. And all you simply do is click into the title to log into your course. Now, most of you might have noticed that you have this Welcome to your Blackboard Learn shell, and it's a template. And it's the first page that you see is titled Begin Here. Now, if you're currently working with a faculty member, you might not have seen this particular page show up if the faculty member had already started developing their course. If you see this and it's already mid-semester, the faculty member forgot to remove it or has not developed their course. So this is a huge indication on whether or not the faculty member is active. Now, the reason that we have this with step-by-step instructions on how to create the courses is because, unfortunately, since we moved over to the new Blackboard, not everyone was able to get trained in time to learn how to use the platform. So you can follow the steps here, or in your case, you're here to learn how to do that. So we're going to go ahead and start from the very basics. Some of you have already probably gone through these steps. However, keep in mind that certain faculty may ask you to add tools that you don't necessarily have right now available. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. So just humor me when we're going through the steps. You guys can go ahead and develop this. This is your own development shell. I recommend that if you're working on a course, a live course with students and actual grades, and your instructor or you as the instructor would like to try something out, don't try it out in a live course. You don't want to accidentally delete the entire gradebook. Try it out in this shell. It doesn't have real students, so if you accidentally delete the gradebook, nothing happens. You can, or if you crash it, like, oh, it's frozen, nothing happened, just say, Josie or Flor, can you reset it? We can easily reset this course for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you want to do is pick a teaching style. Teaching style is based on how your instructor is going to introduce, or how you are going to introduce the content to your students. Are you going to go introduce it to them by weeks, by chapters, by days? It varies, obviously based on the subject and the book. So what we're going to do is, if you scroll to the lower left-hand side under Control Panel, you will see a link that's titled Customization. If you click into that, it opens up, and you're going to click into the link that says Teaching Style. It should be the second one from the bottom up. Okay, is everyone at the teaching style? This should look like this. And if you have this yellow bar on top, sorry, that's actually me from when I was copying the content over, so you can just ignore that. You can go ahead and scroll over to the left if you'd like. Now, every time you go into something within Blackboard, it's divided into steps. Like step 1 is you're going to select the structure. So if we're going to scroll down, and these links right here, these words, are active links. If you click into one, it shows you on the right-hand side what the menu will look like. So for example, this is an activity base. So you have activities, conversations, live chat. Case study, for those of you who are in like HRP, who are teaching some form of health science. You have case studies. You can select that type of menu. Lab format, if you're in sciences or even social and behavioral sciences have labs. Now, the most common ones are focus based on content. So for example, chapters. You can have your entire Blackboard organized by chapters, lectures, lessons, modules, units, topics, and then traditional looks like what the old Blackboard used to look like. So if some of you are familiar with WebCT/old Blackboard, that would be the traditional setting. Now for our purposes, we're going to go ahead and select the one that says module. The reason I say module is because you can easily modify this to suit your own needs, and module seems to have a little bit of everything. So go ahead and click module, and you're going to click this button right here that says use this structure. When you do that, another little notification pops up that says include examples by module. Do you want to include examples? Some people say yes, other people say no. It depends on how active you're going to be. If you're going to forget to delete those examples, you might freak out your students. Because these are just general random examples, and students will automatically start freaking out if they see all of a sudden that they're in a math class and you're asking for them to submit a history paper. But it's because it was a preset example that you forgot to delete. So that's up to you. I'm just not going to include examples simply because you see a lot of, it clutters up the page during a presentation. Okay, step 2, entry point. This is very important. We had a lot of issues with this in the beginning of the semester. A lot of faculty would just simply delete the begin page. Well, you notice that the default is the begin page. If you delete the begin page, the way that this is set up, the entry point switches to the next populated item on the list. In this case, it would be the library resources. So if you switch your begin page, you can select maybe your syllabus or your content. So you can have the students, when they log in, automatically go to that page. Other people set it as the announcement area. So this is very important. Don't make the mistake of selecting integrity recordings unless you actually have recordings for them. Because what it does is it kicks them out into a different area, and if there's nothing there, it kind of prevents them from going back into the class. So be forewarned. Okay, step 3, I'm just going to skim over because I noticed that people spend about 20 minutes just picking a color. And right now, we don't need a color. So you can modify, obviously, the way that your course is displayed. You can make it look pretty. And sometimes, yeah, people go overboard. Whatever you do, please do not pick white font on a white background. You can't see that. Or yellow on white. You can always go back and modify your color scheme, or anything that you actually do within Blackboard, you can always go back and modify. So with the exception of deleting grades, that's the only thing. Once you delete, they're gone. Yes? Yeah,
you definitely want to be careful with that color scheme, because then there's stuff that you can see, but for some reason
the students can't. Exactly.
So you can't see some of the
yeah. And you're going to just go ahead, we're just going to skim through this all the way to step number 8. Everything else, steps 5 through 7, are associated with the banner, color scheme, and all that. So go ahead and click on Submit, and you have chosen a color. Yes, I've chosen the course structure, and it's going to apply it. I selected modules. Now you should receive a notification that says course style updated and success. You can easily get rid of these little notifications, just simply X out of them. And it gives you a notification saying the by module course structure was added. Okay, so now you notice that our course menu on the left-hand side has been updated. So what's the next step? What else, when you're creating a course, what would be the next step for you to add?
Syllabus?
Yeah, the syllabus. Because that's, when you're in a face-to-face class, what do you give your students? The first thing you say is, hi, my name is so-and-so, and here's the syllabus, read it. So when you're designing the course, think of it that way. Like if you're in a face-to-face class, what is the first thing that you're, because think of this. Yeah, this is an online class or an online component. They're going to read it and go navigate through it as if they were also in a face-to-face environment. So syllabus, where are we going to put the syllabus? Well, there's two different options. If you notice on the upper left, if you click in there, you'll have additional options here on the drop-down menu. And you can either add a content area and title it syllabus and include your syllabus in there. Or you can simply, and actually, you know what, let's go ahead and do that, just so that you can practice the steps of adding a content area. Content area would be the equivalence of a folder. So let's say we're going to title this syllabus. And do you want to make it available to your users? Yes. And you're going to go ahead and click Submit. Anytime you add something to your course menu, it's going to add it to the bottom of the list. So all you have to do is hover over it until you get this little cross, and just simply drag it into the location that you want it to be placed in. And of course, we want this above our modules because you're creating this as if the students were going through step by step. Navigation is key to success here. If the students have to spend 20 minutes just to find your syllabus, then there's something wrong with the way you created the course. Okay, so we created an empty folder. That's why there's a little box next to it. You notice that it's an empty square. That means that this is right now hidden and there's nothing in there. Or you click in there and it says no items found. So what we're going to do is populate this. You're going to click in there. And you can tell that you're in the syllabus folder or content area. And you're going to add or hover over these buttons. The one that we're going to use is called the Build Content area. If you hover over it, it opens up. You notice that there is a syllabus option down here. So we're going to scroll down, click into syllabus, and you can title this oops. Of course, you would use whatever course title you're teaching. Now you have two different options. You can either create a new syllabus, so it would give you a template that you would just copy and paste or plug in your information, or you can use an existing file. If you use an existing file, you can browse your computer or browse your course for the file. So if you simply browse the computer, go to the desktop, and of course we don't have an actual document here, so I'm going to add a picture as a syllabus. So let's pretend that this picture is the actual syllabus.
You can't browse another course from here?
You could browse here into your own course. Well, when you click on Browse Course, you're only browsing that specific course. You can't, unfortunately, like the old Blackboard, it would allow you to go into a different class. Right now, it's just specific to that course. So yeah, and it actually kind of helps. It's easier to, because you're better organized. You're not, unless you're teaching the same course in different sections, I could understand how that would help. But right now, it's browsed for that specific course. So is everyone here where you clicked into the title to add the syllabus? You're going to build content. Build content, you can add an item, file. Let's say that you are going to record yourself going over the syllabus. We have faculty members who record themselves going over the syllabus because it's a fully online class. And the students may have some questions, or maybe they're adding their additional information that is not necessarily written on the syllabus. Or maybe they're explaining a specific part of the syllabus to the students. So you would go ahead and add, an audio, a video in there. Also, you can give them the paper syllabus. And is an existing. Okay, so you see how it automatically adds the file. Of course, in your case, it would be either a Word document or a PDF. Now, we recommend that when you're uploading the syllabus, you save it as a PDF, simply because a PDF file cannot be modified. And go ahead and click Submit. Okay, now what it does, it will take you to the Edit Item. So you can add a description if need be. You can allow users to, you can track the users that are viewing this. You can display this at a specific time. So you can maybe, if it's, obviously the syllabus, you want to keep it open for the entire semester. But if it's something else, another document that you only want available for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, you can go ahead and select those settings and click Submit. Okay, and we got our little notification, success. Syllabus has been edited and added. So you can tell that this has been added. Now, on the upper right-hand side, you'll see that there is an area that's titled Edit Mode is On. When that is on, that means that you can build or add content to it. When you turn it off, it's similar to what a student will see. The only difference, and please keep this in mind, is if you scroll down, the course management is still visible to you because you are the administrator of your course. However, your students do not see that. So please don't make any reference to that area because the students won't be able to see it. So this is what the student will see. So if I'm your student, I'm going to click into the home page, and you can easily follow the steps. In this particular course, when the student logs in, they go into this New Today page, which is where I have the announcements and everything. Then I am going to read the syllabus. If I click into the syllabus, I see that here's my syllabus. All I have to do as a student is click it, open it up, and read it. So far we have, an easy navigation for the students. Now, if you notice on the left side in the course menu, our modules link disappeared. That's because the modules links is empty. So we need to go in and start creating the modules. So let's go ahead and turn on the edit mode so that we can start adding.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
Up on the right-hand corner next to your name, the updates counter, a student asked me about that, and I said, I wasn't too sure what you said.
Okay, this has actually been updated recently, I think within the past 3 weeks. If anyone asks about this, it's a notification for the user that there's been something updated in either a course, an announcement. So if you click into it, you notice that, in my case, I have a lot of courses. So there's been something added to a course. And all I have to do is just click into it to view it. And in this case, the one that I just clicked into is the course that we're currently in because I added the syllabus. So it's telling me that this is new.
So when we post material, it'll add a counter up there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You can also, whenever you create an assignment, it will actually also add it to the calendar for them, and it will come up as an entry. And the students can go ahead and modify how they want to view this. So right now, it's updates. These are just pure updates, and if you click into it, it gives me a thorough list of how many days, like 4 days ago, someone added grades. 2 days ago, someone added content. So it's really specific so that the student knows, oh, what was the update? I don't have to guess. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and now start populating modules. Modules would be the area where you're going to divide your content. So if you're going to do maybe week 1 module, if you're going to do it by weeks, you would go ahead and start here. We click into modules, and we're going to start building a folder. And my recommendation is to always build the folders first. Then you can always go back and populate them. So I'm just going to do the first 3 weeks. So I'm going to add a folder, title it week 1. And you can be really specific, including the date on here or the times that that particular week meets. Do you want to make it available? Do you want to track? I always track everything just because it's easier to know whether or not something is working. Maybe no one ever looked at the syllabus. Well, how are you going to know? Well, if you track it, then you know how many people looked at the syllabus.
And if you want to track it later, there's no way that you can. I mean, it's gonna start tracking from that day that you set it up. It's not gonna track anything before. So when you create something, I would say always make it trackable, just in case you need to find out more.
Yeah, if you want to track it later, yeah. So when in doubt, track it from the very beginning, because later on in the semester, like Flor said, it won't track anything previous to that activation tracking day. So let's go ahead and just add the weeks. You can go ahead and add your weeks or whatever your particular modules are. And we're simply just adding content folders. Okay, so you notice that I purposely didn't track week 2 so that I could show you the difference. Enable tracking statistics, you see? So if you don't see that in the bottom, that's not being tracked. So that's just a kind of visual clue. Okay, so we have our folders. Now we're going to add the content. You can simply just click into the week and start building. You can add an item, which an item can be something as simple as this week we will learn, or your learning modules, we will do the following. Or at this point in the week, you should have read chapters 13. And then you can even include a reference to a link or something, because you can add URLs or you can add attachments through here as well. So in my case, I'm just going to title it Readings. And something else, let's see, our article summary. And okay, you notice that the last one I said watch the following. I wanted to show you another tool that you can incorporate. If you notice that there's a little paper clip, that's the traditional sign for inserting a file. Next to it is insert an image. Maybe your item is an image that you want to discuss. If you're teaching maybe art appreciation and you want to post this image up, you can go ahead and do that and then maybe ask a question that they need to respond in the discussion board. The next one is a little film reel. Insert and embed media. So you can click in there, and you can actually embed QuickTime and audio and video files that maybe your publisher has provided, or maybe the instructor has had us digitize and save the videos online for them. You would simply click here and add the URL. You can obviously change the dimensions. Of course, we don't have any because we don't have any in this particular classroom, so I'm just going to leave it as is, but you have that capability of including that as an item. And we're going to make this trackable and go ahead and click Submit. So this is what an item looks like. It's almost similar to just a quick page that you've created. Now you can add a file. A lot of people ask, what's the difference between an item and a file? A file is something you've already written maybe in a Word document or a PDF or an article that you have scanned. So you can go ahead and add a PDF file. and you would browse the computer for it or your course. Make this trackable, and do you want to open up this in a new window, yes or no? I recommend yes, simply because you don't know whether or not your student has fast internet speed. So if it's going to take them, and I know this kind of seems weird, 3 minutes, which is kind of a lifetime in loading things, they can open it up in a new window and still continue reading and doing whatever they need to do in Blackboard. And we're going to go ahead and track it. Click Submit. So you see how this is the difference. This is a file where there's a link directly to it. The item doesn't have a link. We can also add a mashup. A mashup is a YouTube video, a Flickr photo, slideshow presentation. The most used mashup is a YouTube video. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And you can search YouTube for any particular topic. Let's say okay, this particular video is actually being used by a professor this semester. He teaches history, and he wanted to show them a video on World War II and Donald Duck. I'm not sure what the context was, but he was able to find it, and he selected the video. He added a description that pertained to the content that they were talking about and discussing. And he went ahead and showed the URL. You always want to show the URL simply because if the video doesn't load, they can always copy paste it into another browser and open it up. Once you do that, track it, click Submit. And now this is what it looks like. So let's go ahead and turn off the edit mode so you can see what the student will see. And we're going to click into the little home page and start from the beginning. So I'm a student, I log in, I see my announcements. Okay, let me go to the syllabus. Fine, I know, and you might want to also add instructions on the syllabus saying, begin here, click in the module area located on the left-hand side. Keep in mind, students are new to this Blackboard also, so you need to tell them where to click. So I know that I need to go into the modules on the left-hand side. I go in there. I see that it's divided into weeks. Okay, let me click into week 1. And this is what I have to do. Okay, so this week 1, I need to do the following readings. I need to read my PDF. I need to watch this video. And maybe the video, we're going to discuss it in a forum, a discussion board. So let's go ahead and set up the discussion board so that the students can address or post their comments about this video. Let's go ahead and turn on the edit mode. And everything I'm going to show you that we're adding is what a professor normally uses in a module. They have content, PDFs, video, and some form of media. And then they have a discussion forum and an assessment and an assignment. So I'm just going to show you how to add those because those are the most used tools. Let's go ahead now and keep in mind we're still in week 1 because we're populating this particular week. We're going to add a discussion board. So where do you think we would go? Under Build? So what would that be? Yeah, it's a tool. So tools, you're going to hover over tools. Everything that opens up within this area is a tool that you can link into a module. So we're going to click into discussion board. In our case, we're going to have to create a new forum because this is a completely new course, so there's nothing that was brought in from a different semester. We're just simply going to click create a new forum. Well, what's the name of this particular forum? How about, and just because I have no vivid imagination, week 1. Of course, you would title it whatever specific description. And make it available, yes. Now here for the settings, Do you want to allow anonymous posts? Well, no, I don't, because if I'm going to be grading this, how am I supposed to know who posted if it's anonymous? Another thing, if you make it anonymous, you cannot revert back to visible view. If you want to see who they were and they've already posted an anonymous post, good luck trying to figure out who wrote it, because you can't bring that information back. Do you want to allow them to delete their own posts? Do you want them to edit their own posts? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and allow for editing simply because, well, I'm a horrible speller and I'm sometimes doing this at 3 o'clock in the morning, so maybe what I think in my head doesn't necessarily translate very well when I'm typing. So I can go ahead and edit. I'm going to give the students that ability. Do you want them to reply with a quote? What that means is that, for example, if let's say, I don't know, Mr. Longoria or Mr. Cortez is replying to someone else. If you hit reply with a quote, it will actually, oh, I know. Let's say Bobby posted something, and Mr. Cortez is replying to Bobby's post. Well, instead of flipping back and forth to read what Bobby posted, all he has to do is simply click reply with a post. It will automatically include Bobby's post so that you can reference it. So that's just another way, and it's a personal preference. You don't necessarily have to include that. Allow them to attach files, create new threads. I personally do not allow students to create new threads. That's my own personal preference, and that's simply because I don't want to have to go digging through 30 to 40 threads just to find an answer. So what I want to do is have one thread, and everyone is going to reply to that one thread. And the rest, do I want this to be graded, yes or no? Well, I'm going to allow it to be graded, and let's say this is 10 points because I'm going to have 10 forums, so it's equals to 100. Yes?
So if you take off that allow members to create new threads, they won't be able to do that?
Yes.
Yeah, I had a huge problem with that.
It can get out of hand, especially if you have 100+ students and they're creating new threads every time they reply to someone. Well, it's kind of scattered because instead of having all of the replies contained in one file, think of it as now you have to click into 100 files just to read the response for that one question.
And I didn't even realize this was an option. I kept on having to talk to them. Right?
Yeah, it can get out of hand. You can also add a rubric. If you need one, you can create one, and you can create one from an existing rubric. Once you've selected all of your settings, you can go ahead and click Submit. And right now we're just creating the forum. We're not creating the question. So we're just creating the area that holds the question that the students are going to reply to. You notice that it automatically added our forum into our what would you call this little box? Our selected box or box selection? It's not even a drop box. I don't know why they just... Let's just title it our selection area. So you simply make sure that it's highlighted and click Next. Now the text. You can create text for whatever you want. So what's the description of this? Or let's just say instructions can go here. For example, please reply to the thread that is posted. Make sure that you reply to someone else, and make sure that your original post is well thought out, and I don't know, maybe you have to reference someone. Also, you want to include how are you going to grade them. If I'm going to make this a graded topic, I want to know how you as the instructor is grading me. Are you grading me based on my word count? Are you grading me based on the content? Because I can easily reply to someone else and say, yeah, I agree with them. So do I get 100 points? Do I get the full credit? I replied. So keep that in mind when you're creating this. And then, of course, tracking and click Submit. You can also manipulate the dates and the times that this opens up. You notice it's going to post it in the bottom right here. Now, all you have to do is click into it and create the thread. So when you create the thread, sorry, I can't see, it's all blurry now. Now, my thread will be on the video. So I'm just going to title this Donald Duck video. What's my message? Well, instructions can go here and questions to answer. So for example, what year was this video produced? And what significant historical Okay, so what year was this produced? What's significant? And I probably misspelled significant. I can see that. Significant. What significant historical value does it have? Well, obviously you're going to put your questions in reference to your content. And you can also include an attachment and click submit. So now we've actually created the thread that the students are going to log into to post. And if we turn off the edit mode, you can see that. Go to the home page, go into modules, week 1. I have my readings, PDF, here's the video. I'm going to watch the video. And then I know that please reply here. Click in there. And here's the video, the forum. I click in there as a student, and all I have to do is simply click on reply. And I know you can't see that because of the color scheme, but trust me, it's there, you see? I don't know who selected this color scheme, but I know that others' computer, it looks different in each computer, so it might look a little slightly darker in your computer. So this first button here, next to the word quote, is your reply button. And all I have to do is click on reply and reply to my post. And click submit. So now you see how it's indented because this is a reply to my original post. And because of the fact that I didn't allow them to create new threads, there's not going to be multiple threads for you to log into. So for example, multiple threads, you would have 100 of these listed down here. Can you imagine clicking into each one just to read the answer when they could all have easily just clicked in here and replied to that?
Excuse me, that will be confused for the students too, right? Because the students have to click to 100
Exactly.
trying to see which
Yeah.
one they're all
And then they're
right
going to be
there.
like, well, which one's the one that the professor posted? Which is the original one? This
So-
way,
It shows create thread here, but on theirs it won't show it, or it won't?
No, it won't.
It won't, okay.
yeah, this is why I say that, unfortunately, that it's similar to what the students see. It's not 100%. And I'll show you right now how to add a test student or a fake student, as I call it, so that you can see exactly what the student sees.
It's not like the old Blackboard where you could see exactly.
Yeah,
what
there's
they
no
were.
student tab anymore, or student view. So let me go ahead and turn this on and go back to modules. Assignments, you would go through the same procedure. You go click into the week that you want to add, or your module area, or content area, and simply click into tools or assessments. I'm sorry, we're going to go into assignments. So you would click assessments. You can add a test, a survey, an assignment. If you click into assignment, you would just simply create the assignment. So, and my recommendation is to always include the title that you have in the syllabus. Don't change titles midway because students get confused and they don't know. If you titled something assignment 1 and all of a sudden in the actual folder you title it Declaration of Independence, how are they going to know that that's assignment 1? Unless you put assignment 1, Declaration of Independence, you want to keep it consistent. Instructions. Attach your written research papers. And then you can obviously give them more instructions. You always want to be specific on how you want them to submit the assignment. Do you want it as an attachment, or do you want them to just simply write it within the field that's available to them? In my case, I'm asking them for an attachment. Possible points, 100. Make the assignment available, yes. Single attempt or multiple. If they're writing a research paper and this is the final draft, well, then I only want a single attempt. But if I want them to submit several drafts, maybe you have unlimited attempts. It depends on what your assignment is. You can also give them a specific number of attempts.
So you can say the draft and the final?
Exactly. You can track the number of views. You have a due date. My recommendation is when you have the display until date, make that the same date as your due date. Because if you have a due date that's, let's say, Friday, but your display date is until Monday, that's going to be a little conflicting. So just make it due date and display date the same.
What's the difference between those two again?
The due date, the display date is how long it's going to be visible to the students. The due date is when it's actually due. Like, think of it this way. I'm going to allow you to see the assignment, but when do you actually have to turn it in? It's a due date.
So is the due date a deadline? Can they not access it after that date?
No.
They are marked late, like after the due date, if they submit after the due date, they will be marked late. You will see that on their submission.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the due date is an indication as, it's a cutoff date. Like, that's it. Anything after that is late. Yeah, like Flor said. So just so that there's no confusion, just make the due date and the display end date the same, so that way it's not displaying after the due date and there's no confusion. Well, I could still see it. Why can't I submit it? It wasn't late. Well, yeah, it is, because the due date was Monday, but I can still see it until Friday.
If you don't want to see any late submissions, then you put the same date as the display until. So after that, it will not be displayed, so they will not be able to see it.
They won't have access to it.
Yeah, that's it. Like, it's a cutoff. You missed it. Sorry. You have to come and speak to me or send me, make different. I mean, and keep in mind, you can do this. There's no one way, correct way. This is just my own personal preference. I know Flor works with other faculty that don't necessarily make the display date and the due date the same. So it's just whether or not you want to see late assignments or not. My faculty just, I don't want to deal with it, so they just cut it off. That's it. You had your chance, no more. You can also make this into an individual assignment or group assignments. If you have group assignments, you want to set up the groups first. That's a lot easier. So we can go over that if you'd like. If not, then you can just call us and we can talk you through the steps on how to set up a group. And just simply click Submit, and it's added at the bottom. So you see how your navigation, the flow of how you're setting up your module, you're containing everything that you're doing for that 1 week. So your students don't have to go outside looking, and like an Easter egg hunt, looking for an area to submit an assignment. They're not looking for an area to post their threads. You're keeping everything contained in one folder or a module. Any questions? Anything? Additional tools you can add, obviously you can incorporate wikis, groups, you can incorporate chats, voice email. I love voice email. But okay, that's just because I'm lazy, I don't want to type emails anymore. You can use that to send to students. Especially if you're teaching a modern language, this is excellent because you can have the students present to you or send you a voice email. And for example, if you're teaching French, you're going to ask them to send you an email in French. That way you can assess their pronunciation. You can assess their, if you wanted to write it, because you can also include the writing, you can assess whether or not they're grasping the concept of grammar. And
can you look at chat real quick, because I'm thinking about using that.
Okay, chat. When you click at the chat, right now there is only, there's nothing defaulted. So we would, let me see, collaboration session page, select.
Because I want to create new session.
Yeah, let me go ahead and create a new session. You do have a defaulted office hours. Those are excellent for those of you who are teaching reduced seat, or maybe you're not on campus but you still want to hold your office hours. You can select that and have the students log into your Blackboard class and send you messages so you can hold a one-on-one. In our case, we're going to create a new session, and it's going to default to whatever the name is here. I'll just leave it as is. Available, yes. You can obviously select the dates of availability. And I'm going to select it, click next. And you can type in the text, track it. So here's the chat. Let's go ahead and turn off the edit mode. And click into the Teaching Academy. And this is what it looks like. So I know that I can join this session by clicking in there. And you notice that it's installing something in the background. Do you want to? Yes, I want to allow, and always trust this publisher. This is showing up because obviously we've never used this particular tool on this computer before. If you are running this on your own personal laptop, you just go ahead and set it up once, and you don't have to set it up again. If you get this window that says, would you like to run this trusted content? Yes, you want to click run because Blackboard relies heavily on Java. And there it is. This is what the chat looks like. You can compose your message down here. Just simply click enter on the keyboard. You have the ability to raise your hand. Maybe there's several people here. You can select who you want to speak with. You can send private messages, especially if you're holding a one-on-one session and then maybe someone else comes in. You can have a private session with someone. Keep in mind, you want to let them know when they come into the chat that they don't want to disclose any personal information. If they have something private to send you, they can do it through private message. You have controls over here on how you want to view it. Private messaging on and off. You are the administrator of this, so you can deselect it and not allow students to talk to each other. Maybe if you're holding like your own little study session, and you know that they always talk to each other behind the professor's back. It's like the equivalence of texting. So you can deselect it so that they can't talk to each other.
How did you get that choice?
Right here, clear.
Controls.
Controls, and next you can deselect it, private messaging, and click OK. And then when you end the session, it will kick everybody out also, so you can do that as well. And you can simply just click end to end the parent session.
So this is just type and chat, not voice chat, right?
In this particular chat, it's just type and chat. There is another option called collaborate. We didn't select that, which you can incorporate, is it video and voice and a couple of other things.
Share your desktop.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah,
You can include also PowerPoint, share the desktop like Flor was saying. I don't remember what else. But that in itself, that tool is another session. And if you have any specific questions, though, let's say you're going to incorporate the chat tool already, you can go ahead and just contact us. Yes?
If the student's off campus working either from home or from a laptop somewhere, they might not be compatible for some of these features like chat.
Exactly. What I recommend, usually during the first week of the semester, when people are still trying to get their bearings, just create a chat as a practice, exercise. Like say everyone go into the chat and post or even discussion so that they can iron out those technical issues. If they have any issues such as, oh, I click into the chat and a window doesn't pop up, nothing happens, what's wrong? It could be that they exited out of Java. Or that little application that said, do you want to run or cancel? A lot of people tend to just not even read and they click exit out. Well, if they do that, then it's not going to work properly. If that happens, they can contact our help desk, which the number is 665-5327, and we have an application called BombGuard that we can connect to their computer to see what's going on. And if need be, we can even transfer files so that they can update their computer or help them update it. If it's a campus computer, then we can contact 2020 and have them make modifications to the computer.
And Mac should be able to run everything that we're running? Because I've had students tell me that they're on a Mac.
It should be able to run everything. The only thing that I know that doesn't work very well with Mac is Respondus.
Yeah, but that would be only for the instructor.
Yeah, not the student.
No.
So.
I've just had students tell me that they're having trouble running some of our stuff because they're on Mac.
Yeah, when it's stuff like that, if it's technical, I always tell faculty you shouldn't have to worry about the technical aspects. Direct them to us and we can help them. Your job is just to teach, so don't worry about the technical aspect. So that would be how the chat works. Obviously in this case, because you don't have students in there, it's a little hard to see the full interaction, but you can go ahead and try it. That's why we recommend that you set it up in the beginning of the semester, have the students try it out and see if, even if it's something as simple as you're using it for office hours, it might come in handy. Go back to your module. I'm going to go over the gradebook because that was something that was requested. We're not going to go in too much in depth into the gradebook because that is an actual training on its own. But in case you want to give students access to your grades and you are working in a course that doesn't allow them to see their own grades, this is what you need to do. Right now we have access to that. You notice that there's a My Grades link. But for example, let's say your professor just forgot to put it up for the students. So what you need to do is you're going to click into the little plus sign again. You're going to go into tool link. You're going to type in the title. It's either My Grades or Grades. I'm just going to title it Grades. Right here where it says Announcements, there's a little drop-down menu. You're going to scroll down to My Grades. Make it available to the user and click Submit. What happens is that this will add the link to the bottom, and you can just simply move it up. And so now the students have access to their grades. However, if you haven't populated the grades, then they're just going to see a blank page. So now let's go into the gradebook. Oh, by the way, anything you add here into the course menu, you can delete or rename. Simply hover over the link. There should be a little drop-down menu. You click into there. You can rename the link. You can hide it. Maybe it's a module that you're currently working on and you don't want the students to look at. You can hide that or you can delete. I'm going to go ahead and delete it since we already have this available. Now let's go ahead and populate or go to the gradebook so that you can input the grades so that the students can see their grades. It's called Grade Center. It's no longer called Gradebook. So what you want to do is you're going to go to the control panel. You're going to go into Grade Center. You have several different options on how you can view this. I always just go to Full Grade View or Full Grade Center. And what happens is that it opens it up to the gradebook. Now, all of you should not have any students in there. Your real life classrooms will have the list of the students by last name, first name, username, and student ID. Any questions so far? So if you've seen that, all of that should be populated automatically. If you see students that are missing, that maybe you look at your official registrars list that are not in Blackboard, notify us and we can add them manually. Another thing is maybe the student dropped the class and just, you know how they're always like dropping classes and the 12th class day, forgot to pay, you get dropped, that type of thing. So
We also get a lot of calls in the beginning of the semester that the students cannot see their course. That's because they added the course date. And it takes a couple, like maybe 2 business days, right, for them to get added. So that's probably why they can see their course right away.
So if it's in the beginning of the semester, just tell them wait for 24, 48-hour turnaround. And by that time, if they're not there, then go ahead and contact us and we'll add them manually.
How about when a student's dropped or drops, do we have to delete them, or?
You can't delete them, but we can on our end. So we could, if you tell us by submitting a ticket through our ticket system, we can go ahead and drop them manually. And I'll show you how to do that really quick.
But they won't come off automatically once it's
No.
empty.
They will have the little, if they drop the course like to the register and everything, next to their name will be like a little circle with a diagonal, so that means they don't have access to the course anymore, but you will still see them in the grade center. So yeah.
Also, to get them off, then we have to.
Yeah.
Because I have a whole bunch of those.
Yeah, and I know some faculty want to have them off specifically because when you're inputting grades, it's kind of annoying going through all the ones that are no longer there. Just keep in mind, once someone is deleted from the gradebook, everything they've done is deleted, including grades, anything that will track them is gone. Even if you delete them and add them again later on, it's gone. So for the Grade Center, if you are giving them an in-house assignment or maybe a pop quiz, you gave them a quiz in your face-to-face class, but you want to input the grades online in Blackboard so that they can see their grades, you would create a column. You can just simply click on Create a Column, give the column a name, for example, Quiz 1. You can put a description if you want. What is the primary display? Do you want the score? Do you want a letter grade, a text, percentage? I normally click score because that'll give you, for example, if it's a quiz out of 100 and you gave someone a 56, it'll show 56 versus a text will be a D. Well, that doesn't really tell me what did I get, you know. Category, a category, you can assign this. If it's a quiz, you can assign it into a test category. Categories are used later on in the semester when you're going to use calculated columns to add up your final grade. Points, what is the point value of this particular quiz? I'm going to make it out of 100. It's just easier to do. Just make everything out of 100. Due date, you can include that. Do you want this included in the Grade Center? Yes. Do you want to show the column to the student? Yes. If you select no, then the column will not be released to the My Grades tool that we set up earlier, and the student will not be able to see their grade. So even if you inputted the grade manually, but you don't release it to the student, they won't see it. So keep that in mind when all of a sudden you get emails, well, I can't see my grade. Why can't I see my grade? Well, it might be something as simple as you forgot to release it to them. Show statistics. No, I'll just leave that as is. Click Submit. And if you scroll to the very end, let's see. And in my case, it's right here. Here. I don't know if you can see that because the color is a little light on this computer. Can you see that? Okay, so week 1 is a discussion forum. Remember I created a graded discussion. Here's my assignment. Every time we created something within our module, it added a column. But here's the quiz that I manually created because my quiz wasn't part of the initial setup in the modules. So you would just simply click in there and you can view the grade history. You can edit the column information. You can hide the column. You can delete it. You have additional information. Now, if we had a student in here, you could just click into that student's cell and add the grade. Any questions on that? At the very end of the semester, you can even include an average column, a weighted column. So if you're doing percentages, for example, your quizzes are 50% of the total grade, you can calculate your final grade that way. Now, I'm not going to go into that one too much, other than what I just briefly went over, because that one is, I recommend that once you're ready to use that, you have the syllabus in front of you. And please keep in mind that you have to follow what's on the syllabus. If you are starting off the semester and telling the students that your course is going to be based on points, don't change midway to percentages. That's confusing to the students and it can possibly cause problems. You don't want to have grade disputes. If you started off with percentages such as your research paper is 30% of the grade, final grade, your quizzes are 10%, stick to that formula. Any questions? Okay. Okay, well, that's it for me. If you have any questions, just feel free to contact us. And even if you call the help desk, they will be happy to transfer you to either Flor or myself because you are instructors. So we do work with the instructors. Okay, thank you so much, Bobby.